Roughead is going to cop a lot of criticism. But
Frawley?
Frawley, just on Roughead, he'll cop criticism and there'll be questions around that, and this has kind of been put on the agenda by some of the narrative. One, what's happened at the Hawks in the past.
It was on the agenda because you wanted to talk
and the narrative.
About it.
But you know what? Roughhead's future is up in the air a little bit, but don't base it on tonight because the inside 50 ball to him was pretty ordinary when it comes to there's bombing it inside, and he's not a guy who's going to jump over 4 players like a Tom McDonald and be able to pluck them. His athleticism isn't what it used to be because of his age, and I think people will question him tonight. I think there's questions, but I don't think tonight's an indicator of where he's at.
No, there's no doubt he hasn't had the most consistent year, but he's had an unbelievable career. An unbelievable career. So
he's Hall of Fame. As soon as he's eligible, he's a Hall of Famer.
So I don't think people are being unfair to him and his personality or what sort of person he is. It's just the fact that this happens to everyone.
You know why we're questioning?
You get old and you start to get slower, and because you're the main man in the forward line for Hawthorne at the moment, in a team that finishes in the top 4, he hasn't had a great year. And when it comes to a big final like that, he kicked a couple of goals, but he wasn't.
I said this a month ago.
He wasn't dominant.
If they had got Tom Lynch, he would kick 35, 40 goals next year, and he would absorb, so much of the goodwill with the first defender having to go to Tom Lynch. He still gets a first defender.
So should he stay at the Hawks if they don't get a lure of Mitch McGovern or someone of that ilk to
I think if they get a Mitch McGovern to play next to him, it probably helps him a little bit. I think the pressure is going to be on him. I know, ironically, if he's still there, he's got to get the first defender each and every week, and that's really hard to do. And the reason that it's being questioned is because Alistair Clarkson made the big call with Mitchell, with Hodge, with Lewis, and said, look, our future is changing from where we want to go. And I don't think you can question what Alistair Clarkson has did because they're back in, although it's straight sets tonight, they're back in the top 4 and they've developed kids and they look better than they probably did 2 years ago in that loss to the Bulldogs. But that was also a fair enough question with Roughead. Do they then make the next evolution and make the next step without him? But you've got to have someone inside 50. Sometimes it just seems to, and I think tonight's a perfect example. It's really hard at his time where he's in his footy if he's still the first, if he's first sort of cab off the rank inside 50.
I agree. So I said, I think about 4 to 6 weeks before the finals that I thought that Roughead wouldn't be at the Hawks next year if they got Tom Lynch. Now, I've sort of flipped my view on that a little bit. I think that he can still fit in at Hawthorne, but there needs to be another big forward down there.
If Mitch McGovern goes there,
he cannot be the main man in the forward line.
But if Mitch McGovern goes there, who does your first defender go to?
Well,
probably still Roughead.
No, I think they'd go to Mitch McGovern.
Well, then is Mitch McGovern... The question around that is Mitch McGovern ready to be a first forward?
He's not, no.
No, I don't think so either.
Not given his form this year.
I agree.
What did he play? I think he played 12 or 13 games and he only kicked
14 or 15 goals.
15 goals this year. So he's not ready for... Well, maybe he will be next year. But it takes...
Maybe.
How old is he? He's only 20.
He's only 23 or 24, so he can still develop. Like, I think...
Not everyone develops young and wins Brownlows at 22.
Yeah. Then give up an offer of a 5-year deal because free agency's looming and then become a VFL player.